A prominent Bengaluru-based nursery school came into the spotlight on Friday when it was revealed that one of the school's supervisor was sexually assaulting the children in the nursery. This story has only become more disturbing and more unsettling as the past 6 days have gone on. The police seem, though, hesitant for some strange reason to launch a thorough investigation. What's worse is that the parents of these children say there are many more cases possible, children who could have been preyed upon by this same man. The bigger question at this point, though, is what about the others who turned a blind eye to what this supervisor was doing inside the school? Aren't they equally culpable because they have abetted this heinous, disgusting crime against the children?
इन लोग बोलते हैं 24 आवर्स आप देखते हो कैमरे में क्या चल रहा है. None of the men goes inside the.
In fact, joining us now live from Bengaluru is a lady who unfortunately had to listen to her child narrating the horror of what she has been through. She's now taken up this issue and is determined that she's not going to let any one of those responsible get away. Ma'am, thank you very much for speaking to us, because I know this is perhaps the most difficult thing that any parent can ever do. Listen to their child narrate the ordeal and then have to keep talking about it over and over again. But it's very important because that's the only way we can ensure that these people are brought to book. Also with us is retired Major Aditi, someone who in fact has helped these parents take up the case, reach out to the police, reach out to civil society as a whole. Ma'am, for reasons of convenience, would it be okay if I just called you Shalini?
Yes, it's fine.
Ma'am, what do you think should have been done as opposed to what has been done? Because there's only this supervisor who is currently behind bars. Why are the others out on bail?
Yes, so what should have been done is school authorities are equally responsible, and there is no concrete action taken against the school authorities. So what has been done is the culprit Dr. Manjunath is arrested, but we want some concrete action to be taken against school authorities as well. And school should be shut down.
Is it correct that at different points of time the children had approached the class teacher, the principal, the school administrator, and none of them acted?
I was not able to hear it, sorry.
Ma'am, if you can hear me, is it correct that at different points of time the children actually went to the people they trusted the most, which is the principal, the class teacher, the school administrator, and none of them decided to act?
Yes, few children complained directly to teacher and the admin person there, who is Preeta, and principal as well. Few parents also complained to admin person and the school principal, but none of the action was taken from their side.
What did they say to the children when they approached them?
They said that kids are doing natak. They told like that. I don't understand. I fail to understand. A small kid can do natak. I don't understand. This was their simple reply.
Who said this? The principal, that you are doing natak?
No, this happened for my daughter. My mother went to school and she asked that maybe something has happened in school. My daughter was so scared to go to school, but then they denied that kid is doing natak. Class teacher also said same words, that nothing has happened. So this is the response we got from school. They were not ready to tell us what has happened in school, or they were not ready to share any stories with us.
But did your daughter ever try and approach the class teacher and say that this is what is happening to me, that the supervisor is touching me in an inappropriate fashion, considering that she was so terrified? I can imagine what a little child can go through when they just don't understand what's going on. So they approach the person they can most trust inside that school compound.
I am not sure that small kids are brave enough to approach class teacher for such kind of issues. Maybe one or two kids approached this Preeta and Veena, but my child didn't went to class teacher. She told me in few words. My daughter don't speak full sentences. She is just able to express herself in few words only. And I was terrified to hear the words she told me.
Major Aditi, just 2 years ago, we had a major campaign where guidelines were set down for all schools to follow when it comes to the care of minors who are inside the school premises. How could such a renowned play school then get away by implementing, as it seems now, none of those guidelines?
And that exactly we've been actually trying to understand, because the first question is that is she really competent enough to run this school? And it's a very posh school. We know the chain of schools, reputed organization in one of the reputed areas of Bangalore. And the principal apparently gets away by saying, in fact, in our one of the complaint, the major complaint that has been filed by the parent itself, we've clearly mentioned that how is it? There is an evidence, the telephonic conversation where she is actually shielded, and I would probably, this amounts to your willful misrepresentation, concealment of the evidence, where she's actually pleaded the parent that please do not let the accused get away with it, in a sense that do not let the police arrest, and please take the complaint back. So she's gone to that extent, and this is what has been happening.
Are you serious? The principal was narrated the entire sequence of events by a parent about a child being sexually assaulted, and she said, "Don't tell the police."
Yes, that in fact that has a recorded evidence, ma'am. Probably it is going to be produced in the court of law, and that is where things are going to come, because today the parents and the families, one by one, there are 7 FIRs that have been lodged. First of all, it was very, very surprising that the night we were there on the 20th of Feb, from the school to the police station, waiting there for about 4 hours, one by one the highest officials kept coming in, and the application was there for us to get it converted into an FIR. It was not even converted into an FIR. So that is the sad state of affairs, and the parents just kept sitting there looking for help, that why don't you book her under POCSO? And it is mentioned in the major complaint, which was made as an attachment to the first FIR of the accused. There is point number 10 where the parents have mentioned that please put her under POCSO for concealing and shielding the individual.
And that hasn't been done.
Yes, and that has not been done. It is only when this went into the media, and let me say this on air, that India Today was the first channel that actually went and through has been with us, and Mr. Nolan Pinto has been with the entire families of the preschool who are undergoing this ordeal, and this is how through the media the authorities have started coming in, and the statements that we get to hear are ye to hota rehta hai. Probably when we are talking in front of you, madam, this must be happening somewhere else in another school.
I'll just stop you there. Who told you this, ma'am? Ye to hota rehta hai. Who said this?
So there are top cops, and if you would like me to name them, probably I'll restrict myself from doing so. But there are top cops in the city who have mentioned, when we actually went and met the highest officials yesterday, day before yesterday, to an extent where things are they're trying to just, I don't know what they're doing. It's called delay and diversion. Is that the tactics that they may be doing the stuff? But right now, only through pressure, only through media, when this thing is coming up in the open, is when the police comes down. And as much as today, when we have requested for sealing the school, which was not even sealed, for actually going and searching the accused house, because apparently, I'm sure you would know, that the accused was residing inside the school. Which school permits the individual, which is a male member, when the admissions of the children, little children, infants, is done in a preschool, that you have a male member who is also in charge of the CCTVs, who's in charge of the transportation services, can freely move around in the premise? Who does that?
So basically you let loose a predator and had absolutely no checks and balances in place. In fact, as we are learning now, he was in charge of the CCTV camera room. So any time that he would have wanted to erase evidence, he could have done that, ma'am. Is that your fear?
That is yes, that is correct. That is absolutely correct. For all, in fact, the CCTVs are only looking at the roads outside. Whereas the CCTV looking inside the rooms and the washrooms and the toilets and the classrooms, and the so-called Manju Bhaiya is a scarecrow for all the little children, because apparently there is another evidence that has been attached with the FIRs of the families of an ex-teacher of the organization, because she did come across what is happening and what has happened in that school, where she has mentioned that when the teachers could not handle the children for whatever reasons, they would actually send all the children and scare the children. I'll send you to Manju Bhaiya. And all children were sent to Manju Bhaiya. Now, I'd like to know who does that. I'd like to know that why children would be, whether male or female child, why would children be allowed to change clothes in front of this individual? How is it possible? You have a click pick and the authorities have to turn around when the other families, when other parents have gone to file the FIR. The question that is asked from the parents is, Madam, aap abhi aa rahe ho, tell me one thing. I hope you don't mind if I ask you that, didn't you notice all of this earlier? How didn't you come to know about this, your child, earlier? The lady had to turn around and actually tell him that, are you telling me that every day I would ask my child, did the accused put the finger inside? That broke everybody's heart, ma'am. This is how, if we are going to be treated in a very reputed organization where this incident has happened, and authorities are going to do that. I'll come back to the point that as late as today, when the authorities have visited to conceal or probably check the room of the individual within the premise, the statements are being made, don't talk to media. In चीजों में time लगता है. You are trying to put pressure through in this, but we will file your complaint. These are the statements. I mean, this is the first time we have seen old cases, ma'am. We've seen the biggest of the biggest cases happening. Every 6 months, something or the other is happening.
And ma'am, I strongly urge you, talk you must. Don't talk to us. Talk to others, talk to newspapers, but you must not stop talking, because this is exactly how predators function, and those who are covering up for them, assuming that the poor child would be so terrified and their parents so apprehensive of anything getting out that they will get away with this kind of disgusting crime. Shalini, at any point, did you ever confront this principal and tell her that I left my little girl, my child, in your care, thinking that she would be protected? What have you done? Did you ever feel like confronting her, or actually did it?
Yes, I talked to principal one day when actually all the parents gathered, and in front of all the parents, I talked to principal, how could you do this to my child, being a lady? I am sure that school authorities are involved in this, because when we took admission in school, we were promised that no male person will be allowed inside school premises. Even when their father goes to school to drop a kid, they are not allowed in the school premises. Then how come they were allowing this guy Manju Bhaiya? He went to kids' toilet as well. He was seeing kids peeing in toilet. He was doing something with them at that point of time. I cannot tell everything. I mean, Major Aditi has already told. But how this guy was allowed inside bathrooms without school authorities' permission? I fail to believe that each and every authority in school was blind. They could not see that Manju Bhaiya is going inside bathroom. On top of that, CCTVs are also there. I don't understand that how authorities were unaware of all this.
Do you suspect that at some point they realized what was happening, but for them, Shalini, the school's reputation overrode any concern whatsoever for the children who were actually in their care?
Yes, I remember one parent told me that she went to this admin person Preeta and told her that her child is complaining of this some kind of molestation problem. Then she simply called this Manjunath and told that आगे से ऐसा नहीं करना, बस, that's it. That's what she did. So I fail to believe that these guys were not aware of anything. I fail to believe. Even when other parents went and told about all the act what Manju did with their child to principal, she simply said, "मेरा कोई कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकता," something like that.
No, so when the cameras were switched off and your lady, the admin lady, and when we confronted her and I had asked the camera person to switch off the camera, that is the time I asked her, I said, "Ma'am, आपको सब पता था and you didn't even say a word," and she just nodded because apparently for records, she's actually resigned. So I really like to know that all of this was happening, and probably it's a new facility as I understand and as I learn. It's there for the last 2 years, but this individual has been with the lady for the last 8 years. So I'm trying to understand that for the last 8 years, what must have happened, what parents would have gone through. Probably many of them are not even aware. I really fail to understand. Parents have been then and again asking for sealing of the school. They've been asking that the lady, the principal, needs to be put under the POCSO Act. There is no guidance. The top cop has turned around and said that I cannot do much, but I'm only a facilitator.
No, but what is the
We went
reason
for
he
help.
gave for not using POCSO against not just the principal but also the class teacher, those who are basically guilty of abetment or concealment
So
of
ma'am,
facts?
I'll give you. Yeah, so madam, the experience of the first night of 20th Feb, what had happened was that since we do not understand the local language, in fact, of the local language issue that also happened today, but on 20th, when we had submitted the application and requesting repeatedly, the individual hands over the inspector hands over the application to the Jawan, to the soldier, and he says, in his local language, he says negligence. And we did gather that, are you trying to book the lady under negligence, section 188? And he says, नहीं नहीं, जैसे आप आर्मी में मैडम अपने जवान को इशारा करते हो ना और आपके बंदे समझ जाते हैं, similar way, my boy has understood what I wanted to say. That's a statement I'm going to get to hear from the person in uniform. And that is exactly what we heard. Our application was not filed as an FIR. It was put as an attachment. It's only when we all started putting pressure, that is now there we see in the papers and the news that every complaint is being converted into an FIR. But yet, we need to know whether she's been booked under POCSO as not. That is the requirement, ma'am.
And it's taken
She knew all
6
along.
days for someone to actually do that. Shalini, and I have absolutely no doubt that people like this deserve the severest possible penalty, severest possible punishment. But what do you as a parent, and this is something that can never be compensated, there's no punishment enough for what has been done to your child. But what would you like to see done at the very least, because whatever is there within the law? What should be done to this man who committed the crime and the others who concealed the crime?
I want this case to become an example so that no one ever dare to do this with any child. All schools should put safety measures in place so that this should not happen to any child. I don't say that safety measures were not there in the school, but they were not utilized properly. Or maybe school authorities were knowing about it and were letting it do. So because CCTV cameras were there, he was CCTV in charge, he could manipulate it, and on top of that, nobody was keeping a watch on CCTV. When parents went to school, half of the time CCTV was closed down. Many times it was showing outside road view, it was not showing class view, and many times it was down only, nobody was keeping an eye. I'd ask, what's the use of putting a CCTV when nobody is keeping an eye? Is it for an incident to take place and after that taking footage? Is that the purpose of CCTV?
Ma'am, and actually,
So-
let's just be honest, even if there was someone keeping an eye, considering that this issue was flagged up to the principal and the principal thought it more apt to hush up the entire affair, what good would that CCTV footage even do?
Yes,
but
true,
at,
very true.
At
very
this
true.
point,
and the person itself.
at this point, we can assure you, thank you very much, Shalini, for having spoken out. And I know that there are scores of parents like you out there who are watching, and we are determined that we are going to stay with this story and we are going to keep asking the police why this action that is happening now wasn't taken earlier. And Major Aditi, thank you very much for having stayed with these parents and helping them out through this entire legal maze. For everyone watching, I'll just leave it to your judgment about whether the action taken by the police so far is enough in this present case or not. We're out of time on 8 p.m. today. Thanks for watching.